Hi, I'm Jenny Cash Ryan. Welcome to Metro Talent Showcase. We're here at the Il Porto Restaurant in Old Town Alexandria to meet Johnny Maddox, the king of ragtime, also known as Crazy Otto. So come on inside and let's meet Johnny. Johnny Maddox, welcome to Metro Talent Showcase. How you doing?
Great. Nice to be
Good,
here with
good.
you.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Now, ragtime, king of ragtime. That's what you're known as.
That's what I'm known
Yes.
as. I didn't give that title to myself, however. I don't know who did.
How did you get that
I have
title?
no idea. I have no idea.
Well, I think that I know.
You did.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, how about in the 50s when you kind of brought back ragtime single-handedly? I think that would be a good reason to call you king of ragtime.
Well, it was one of the first. The music had been gone for, oh, good gracious, 45, 50 years. And I made, the first record I made in 1950 was Two Early Rags, Crazy Bone Rag, which was written in 1913, and then the St. Louis Tickle, written during the Louisiana Purchase Exposition in 1904.
Mm-hmm. So really ragtime music was the turn of the century type music, wasn't it?
Well, it started back actually in the 90s.
90s?
Early 90s.
Gay 90s?
That's right.
Yeah, because a lot of times when you hear the music now, you think back to those years.
Well, ragtime is what the music is what really made the 90s very happy, because usually the songs of the 90s were not, they were more or less, I call them Mother Home in Heaven songs, you know, a lot of songs written about death and that kind of thing.
But that's a happy kind of music.
Ragtime is, of course.
Yeah. Who taught you how to play that piano like that?
Well, I had a great aunt. I lived in a little town. I was born in a little town called Gallatin, Tennessee. And my grandmother had two sons, and she built their houses right next door to each other. And up the street from my grandmother were her two sisters. And one of them had played in vaudeville in the 1890s and early 1900s and played ragtime music. In fact, she played in an all-girl orchestra at the Louisiana Purchase Exposition in 1904 and 6. And that's where I got my first love of ragtime music.
Now, did that talent continue on through with your children?
No.
No?
I have four sons, and I really didn't encourage them.
Is that right?
It kind of broke up my marriage.
I
was
see.
married to my piano instead of my wife, so it don't work.
Yeah, I can understand that. Well, now, in the 50s, and probably later than that, no matter which way you turn that radio dial, you got Johnny Maddox.
Well, it's possible. I was more of a jukebox artist in the early 50s.
Yeah. But I remember trying to imitate you.
Is that right?
I heard you everywhere.
Yeah.
And how did it feel to be that loved and so popular?
I guess
now,
it's a great feeling, but I've never given it a great deal of thought. Yeah. I mean, of course, meeting and playing for nice people is what's kept me at this thing all these years.
You know what people enjoy.
Plus making a living at it.
Right.
Welcome. Nice to have all of you with us tonight. Going to get things started by playing for you two Scott Joplin rags. The first one is a rag from 1901. It's one of my favorites, and it was one of his, as it was written at the height of his courtship. His geese were all swans. A tune called the Sunflower Slow Drag, and the slow drag was the dance of that period. Then from 1899, Scott Joplin's Maple Leaf Rag. He wrote this in the little town of Sedalia, Missouri. And what ragtime is all about, first of all, it's the only true American music. Preceded jazz some 25 years. And ragtime, you strictly played the music as it was written, more or less. And then what ragtime is all about, you play a steady marching bass with your left hand, and the right hand works against the left hand. So here we go with the Sunflower, written by Joplin, and the Maple Leaf Rag.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
You have made many, many records. So you've just been
50
making
albums and 87 singles.
And I think you had some gold ones somewhere, didn't you?
9 of them.
9 gold records. What was the most popular one that you had?
First one sold 1 million records was In the Mood, about 1952 or 53, long in there. But as I said, I was strictly mostly jukebox in those days. It wasn't until the Crazy Auto came along in 1955 that I more or less got into the
Yeah.
horns.
Now, where did that name come from?
Well, that came from a disc jockey at WERE in Cleveland, Ohio, Bill Randall. He came up with the idea of, I copied a German record, and the artist on the German label was Der Schräge Otto, which means the drunken one, or it's German slang for tilted or slanted.
Doesn't sound too complimentary. But
No. So a soldier brought the record back from Germany and gave it to an early morning disc jockey. His name was Walt Heinrich in Cleveland. And Walt called it to the attention of Bill Randall, and Bill Randall picked up the phone and called Randy Wood, who owned Dot Records, and said, listen, we've got the only record in captivity, and we're getting a lot of requests for this thing, and nobody has it but us. So he suggested that we copy this record. And Randy Wood said, well, what are we going to call this record? And Bill says, why don't we call it the Crazy Auto Medley, which it was. It was a medley. The first song was an American tune called Ivory Rag. There were about 4 German tunes in the middle, and the last one was Irving Berlin's Play a Simple Melody.
yeah, that's one I remember quite well. Yeah. What would you estimate the total of your sales and records would be at this time? They've got to be high, because,
Well, back in 1967, it was about 11 million.
wow.
So I don't know what it would be now.
Yeah, that's great.
Once
Well, I
in
know
a while, I get a
why.
royalty check from Dot Records.
Every once in a while, that
Yeah,
feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What would you consider would be the highest point in your career?
Well, a lot of things, I think. Well, first place, I think making people happy would be a very high point in my life. But I
That's
think
what keeps
the
you
morning
going.
that I got through recording and I walked down Hollywood Boulevard and saw my star that I didn't know was there.
You got a star on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yes, it's right on there.
That's great.
Yes, it's on Cahuenga and Hollywood Boulevard. I'm right next to Will Rogers.
That's
so that
great.
was a thrill.
Hey, that would be a thrill. It certainly would be. I also understand that you have quite a collection of old music and
True. I've been collecting it for about 45 years. I have probably about 100,000 pieces of music.
yeah.
And
Is this real old music, or what are you?
I'm mostly interested in music before 1920 and clear back to the Revolution.
Yeah.
I have music from the 18th century, early 19th. I'm interested in any form of music.
Yeah.
Not classical, I mean so-called popular music.
Yeah, right. in your very successful career, if you could go back and change anything, would there be anything that you'd do differently?
Well, there's a lot of things you change about your private life, but I think professional life, I would have made myself more accessible to the recording company because many, many times I was playing in a club and Randy Wood would call me and say, listen, we need you out here in Hollywood to do a record, and I missed some big hits, but not being able to get there. I remember playing Toronto, Canada, and he called me. I flew out on a Sunday and recorded and flew back on Monday and played Monday night in Toronto, Canada. I did that quite a few times, but I think I really would have made myself, as I say, more accessible to the recording company.
Well, Johnny, we're just so glad to have you today.
Well, thank you. It's been a
And
pleasure.
we just love you, and we love your music.
Thank you.
And we just appreciate you sharing that with us.
It's been a real pleasure.
So let's hear some of that music, okay?
All right.
Good.
Well, one more handy tune, my favorite. Tune that he wrote, same year he wrote the St. Louis Blues, 1914. And he wrote it about a train that ran from Memphis, Tennessee and terminated at Morehead, Mississippi. And the blacks referred to it as the Yellow Dog Line. It was the Yazoo Delta Line. And Handy wrote this tune in 1914. Down in Morehead, Mississippi, the Southern Railway was there, and the Yazoo Delta crossed the Southern Railway. So when anybody would get in trouble in Memphis, Tennessee, they say he's gone where the Southern crosses the Yellow Dog. But he based it on a tune written by a good friend of his, Shelton Brooks, who wrote Some of These Days in the Darktown Struthers Ball. In 1913, Shelton Brooks wrote a tune called I Wonder Where My Easy Rider's Gone. Well, that was a racetrack tune that he wrote for Mae West. And actually, when you translate Easy Rider, it was slang for easy touch. So Handy says, your lover has gone where the Southern crosses the Yellow Dog. And he wrote the Yellow Dogs. I'm going to do them both in their old-fashioned dance tempo. So we'll start off with the Yellow Dog, and then we'll do I Wonder Where My Easy Rider's Gone. All right.